And hello again. Welcome everyone to The Great American Witch Blood Moon Rising, episode 8. After a nice little Q&A last week where our cast told some interesting things about expectations, about their own experiences with the game that will definitely not go into the GM's notebook for the big finale. We are back with our Coven of Seer's Rest. I'm Lydia, I'm your guide, half-assed hermit on the interwebs, and it is my absolute pleasure to see how these witches are shaping up, how the Coven is being made, is being strengthened in front of all of our eyes. We're playing The Great American Witch, which is a game by Chris Gray. Check out his stuff. The link is in chat, and if you're watching on YouTube, hello there. It's down below as well. Chris is one of our sponsors this season. All of our games that we play are sponsored, and if you want to check them out, there is another link in chat just now. We're playing Great American Witch on Monday. On Tuesday, we just had the finale last week of the Noadan Chronicles by Broken Dice. Black Void is having their finale this week, and that one's going to be rough. That is Black Void Games, Mighty Narwhal with Mora, another witch coven, but a lot more chaotic than this one, on Thursday afternoons, and of course right after Parslings by Smunchy Games. Game Machinery, we are going back to Defiant on Friday. They're coming back with a lovely 3-parter. Spoiler, Val's going to be in that one. And that is Friday evenings, and Sunday we have Evil Hat Productions. We finished Fate of Cthulhu, but we are running through a 3-parter of Tachyon, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, Tachyon Squadron, GM'd by the lovely Trooper SJP once more. There's a couple of one-shots coming as well throughout our off-season, mid-season break, but more on that in our Discord if you're interested. Social links are in chat right now as well. We also have 2 affiliates. That would be Grinding Coffee, if you want to get your coffee delivery straight to your door, and we have Dice Dungeons for all your dice paraphernalia. We know you're an addict. We know you two are hoarding the shiny click-clacks. Don't even try and hide it. So feel free to check them out and get a discount for a penny for a tail for the Penny for a Tail network. That is me. That is our introduction. But who are my players today? How are they doing? And who are you playing? Let's start with Sylvie Valdrianth. Who are you?
Hi everyone, I'm Val, or Valdrian, on the internet. Today I'm playing Sylvie, who has this weird idea of reincarnation in her brain right now, but she's got some people to talk to about that. But we'll see how that goes. I don't suspect very well. But yeah, that's me, y'all.
And right underneath, we have Party Wipe Games Rindis. How is Marcus? How are you?
Good. Hello. Marcus is probably still fine, riding that high of traumatizing a child, teenager, from the last time we played. But otherwise would have just been working with Naneshka, so pretty good. Still avoiding all of the bad stuff.
Yeah, we had a little party split last time with Sylvia and Anati leaving town and Naneshka and Marcus staying behind. What did Naneshka get up to, and how are you doing, Alyssa?
I'm doing well. For everyone, yeah, my name is Alyssa on the internet. I'm playing Naneshka, one of our resident Hecate witches. God, I hadn't thought about what Naneshka was up to. Probably being like super paranoid about someone coming into town and trying to get shit started. But she was on her fuck around and find out attitude the entire time.
Well, she did finally get rid of her big demon, so she's ready to conquer the world.
Yeah, she feels ready.
And honors to Anati, last but never least, D, it's the Riddler. How are you doing today?
Hi. I'm doing well. My arm hurts. I'm D and I play Anati, and I'm very excited to see. I'm excited to see what Marcus and Aneshka were up to in their time. That's what I'm excited for.
And we will find out in a second. If you want to help these lovely witches make it through the day, you can retweet the following link in chat. Our live tweet, if we hit 20, we're gonna give them a little bit of a boon to make their lives easier. Of course, then afterwards there's a bane, and if we hit sub goals, we might spring some other stuff on them or give them the good rerolls. You can also donate for your favorite witch, or for all of them, or for your favorite guide if you want to. The donate link is in chat as well, and 50% of all those donations do go to the cast. At the end of the season, we basically put them all in a big pot, the donations, not the cast, and then we divvy them up equally. So feel free to support them that way. And we are going to play Blood Moon Rising. What have we been up to lately? Oh. The town of Sears Rest in New Mexico in the 1970s, as we write the year 1979 to be precise, is a sleepy little place. But while most humans don't really spend much time there, maybe on their way through on Route 66, of course, there are lots and lots of supernatural beings who have found their peace, hopefully, in this place. The Coven of Sears Rest is overseeing people of various supernatural persuasions that are trying to find their way in life, one way or another. Some are running from their past, others are finding themselves, and yet again others need to just lie low for a little bit. Our witches have plenty of friends, human and otherwise, in said town, but they also have enemies. The Illuminati in particular are not overjoyed with having quite so many supernatural creatures in one spot. And when a werewolf skull was found and the Illuminati made their move to gain it, our witches have done everything in their power to prevent them from getting it, because it can never be a good thing, whatever the Illuminati want. That conflict was solved quite impressively. I think last episode we had Sylvie actually burning whatever remained of that werewolf skull after making sure the Illuminati were given a fake one and told that it was fake. Oops, we were all duped. But when they realized that a truce that was established with the Illuminati chapter was hinging upon the life of Aoife, Sylvie's grandmother, who died and left this world to the next generation of witches, I realized that the skull wasn't even their biggest problem. Add to that plenty of personal issues that came up from haunting pasts for both Naneshka and Anati, or, well, haunting supernatural beings that are a little bit bigger than just your average werewolf or vampire for Marcus, who has good chats with Death himself every now and then. Good chats is, well, relative. We certainly have a couple of conflict that remain unresolved. Anati and Sylvie went to see one of the Illuminati members and eventually had to go plan for Aoife's funeral. Had to come to terms with everything that happened. What were Naneshka and Marcus up to while that happened? Naneshka, how were you spending those days after you heard of Aoife's death, other than organizing, helping? How did you feel?
It was like a cup of cold water thrown at her after her big relief. Because their demon wasn't the biggest thing they had to worry about. It is the Illuminati once again in their lifetime. So I think while it was a short-lived victory, she got to work, helped prepare for the funeral, whatever was needed. I assume witch funerals are slightly different than just regular human funerals. So any preparations that may be needed from her Marcus, since they are Hecate witches, but also they're taking up more shifts at the Blood Moon Rising. They're keeping an eye out for any strangers that come into town. They are kind of calling up Pano and Cass and making sure they keep an eye out as well. Because it's free game now.
Cass is a big help to you. For some reason, he has this uncanny ability to always just be there, almost as if he can smell whenever you just are about to ask him for help. He's just there. It's almost infuriating. But he's possibly, after a little chat with another witch there, he's a lot better at just being there, at just being support rather than actively trying to solve every single problem. You will have to need or to lean on him a little bit, given that Leia's frazzled. A couple of days now. She seems like she's not getting much sleep. And you know that feeling yourself from very recently. She drops things, she forgets to order, she orders the wrong items. She's never been that bad at her job.
I think at noticing that, Naneshka's gonna just at one point just look at her and just like a very serious look and just point to Sylvie's office for her to come into the office with Naneshka.
Okay. Oh. Okay. Is anything wrong?
Come on,
She starts
we'll talk about it.
fidgeting, kneading her fingers, as she's often wont to do. Yeah. What's up?
Naneshka will lead her in and then close the door and kind of lean. She doesn't sit on the desk, that's Sylvie's desk, but she'll lean in front of it and just kind of look at her for a moment, analyzing her. What's up with that? Why are you so nervous?
Nervous?
You're twitchy, you're fidgeting, you're dropping things, ordering the wrong things, forgetting things. I need you on your best game right now.
I've been sleeping like shit, to be honest.
Yeah, I get that.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't want to let you down. I know it's a tricky time. Maybe it's gonna be weird without Aoife, even if she wasn't here much. Like,
Talk to me. Tell me what's on your mind. We're not just co-workers, we're friends.
all right. You're trying to establish a bit of a relationship here, and for once, I'm not forgetting that these conversations are not just RP. They have roles for that, because that's one of the beautiful things about the game.
In my
Yes,
RPG?
yes. That's the horrible thing about you guys. You're so good at RPing that I'm just going by whatever you say rather than let the dice decide. And the lovely thing about this particular style, it's PBTA based, so we have the 2d6s, but a lot of the roles are conversation focused to get people to do what you want. So what's your intention here? Are you trying to befriend?
Yes. Yeah, I think at first, they're gonna try to befriend. So I'll roll for that. What dice am I gonna use?
Naneshka's still doing the good cop for now.
For now. We'll see. Oh, nice. 5, 8, 10.
10. Ooh, you tell me how she reacts. That is a full success, so you get to take over the narrative as well if you would like.
I think with Naneshka, she is genuinely concerned about Leia and understands what not sleeping can do to you and having nightmares and such. And she does actually have a very understanding and caring look on her face. So maybe that kind of breaks down her walls, and the honesty from Naneshka kind of just gets to her.
She doesn't say anything for a very long time. You can see her body language closing up. You can see her folding her arms and looking away. There is something odd. You know Leia to not be the most self-confident girl. You know her to be a little bit paranoid, which, given her backstory, given her connection to the Fey realm, what you know is that as a changeling, she's always been worried about being snatched back by some Fey creature, always being pulled into another bargain unknowingly, unwittingly. She doesn't have high self-esteem, and she always fears that, well, she always fears the worst, to be perfectly honest. So you feel her, you see her closing in, and then not looking you in the eye, but quietly she goes, I've never had dreams like that.
Like what? Come here, and she'll kind of motion for her to sit down. I figured Sylvie has 2 chairs in front of her desk.
And she
she'll sit next to
slumps into one of the chairs, like, it's if someone is watching me.
I'm watching you.
Oh. Did we just have a
You
little
froze.
stutter there, I think? Yeah.
Yeah, you froze through me for a second.
I'm just checking that our stream is still live before I continue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, should be good. Sorry, guys. Aneshka, I think I did a bad thing.
Okay. Calm down. What do you think was a bad thing?
Do you remember Madeline? Sylvie's cousin?
Yeah? The one I body checked into a wall? That's pretty
What?
funny. Sorry. Don't worry about that.
I don't know, maybe I should have told you guys, but she's a witch too, you know?
We know.
Oh. She's... Every now and then I see her in my dreams. And I see her, and I hear her, and she's asking questions, and I have to answer. I have to. I don't know. She seems so sweet and so nice and so well-meaning, and maybe it's that Fey part of me. I don't know. I don't want it, but I thought she was trying to make everything better, and she was trying to help, and now I'm not so sure anymore. Now when I dream about her, she laughs and she mocks me, and then she's not her, she's you, and then she's Sylvie, and then she's me.
Okay, what kind of questions has she asked you?
Just what's happening in town and what's happening with Aoife. She said that Sylvie didn't want her to visit, so she wanted to hear about her grandmother, and she wanted to hear about the people here and how everyone's doing, and that she misses some of her friends when she was here as a kid.
This is not good. Oh yeah. Naneshka will kind of hold her hands between hers. It's not your fault. Has she done anything else?
She looks up at you, and for a second, you see yourself in her bloodshot eyes, and in her strange, half fearful, half angry at herself look. You see yourself as you were just a few weeks ago. And you seem to recognize an energy that you managed to expel. I shouldn't have done that. This is all my fault. I shouldn't have said a thing, but oh God, I'm so stupid, Nanishka. I'm so stupid.
Leia, calm down. Calm down. It's not your fault. Wishes are very powerful and can do many things. Like you said, you felt yourself forced to talk, you said?
Yeah. Maybe.
Okay.
You can roll me an awareness check if you want. If you want to figure out if she's lying or if she's...
Okay, that's also...
Or she's not
I'm rolling
emotionally.
high tonight. That's a 10 again. Jesus Christ.
Holy shit. Well, I can tell you she is not lying, but she is confused, scared, and she is holding something back.
Okay. 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 Let's see. You want to get stuff. Okay. Okay, she's gonna try her words first. Now that she's not angry all the time. Okay. Leia, you need to tell me everything if I am to know what's going on. I can help you. You know we can. We're here to help you, to protect you.
A few weeks ago, she was asking about Anati.
What did she
And I
ask?
told her everything. Everything I knew. When she came here. Where she was from. What she can do. How she can make people feel. And she's wonderful.
She is. Is that all you told her?
She also told me to to go look at Sylvie's workshop. Look for a skull of sorts.
Did you do that?
But I didn't find anything. And I told her that.
Okay. I'm going to help you. We're going to help you. She's taking advantage of you, Leia. And we're not going to let that keep happening. On my life, I promise.
Maybe I should just go.
That's not how we do things here, you know that.
Okay.
Hey. We're a family, right? How would I run the bar without you?
Well, Cass has been actually really helpful. They...
A little too
Thanks.
helpful.
Well,
But he can't replace you.
thanks.
Okay. Come on, just wait here a moment. I'm gonna go get Marcus, okay?
Okay.
Okay. And she'll kind of, when she gets up, you know when a big sister does like that head pat, head rub? That's basically what she's gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
And she's gonna go try and find Marcus. As she's going out, she's gonna be like, Cass, take over the bar.
Cass is already behind the bar. Looks a little bit sheepish. Yes, I can do that.
It seems you were already doing that.
Well, I can't help it that I look damn good in an apron.
I mean, you do, but this is... We're gonna have to talk about this at some point.
The apron.
That too.
He
I
flashes
need to
a
go
smile.
I need to go
Yeah.
find Marcus. Excuse me.
Where does Nanishka find Marcus, Rin?
Probably in his spot. It's been a long set of days for them, especially preparing the body for funeral and pulling extra shifts. So he's probably settled into his seat if they have some downtime to relax.
So she'll go to where... I'm assuming it's a booth, the back booth.
Mm-hmm.
So she'll slide into the opposite seat, steeple her fingers. Marcus,
You have that look about you again.
we have more work to do.
All right. What do we have to do?
It's Leia.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Do we
She
need
was
to-
in Madeline. Was the cousin's name? Okay,
Madeline yet?
Madeline. Madeline has been messing with our dear changeling. And Nanishka will explain Leia's dreams and how she feels compelled to talk to her and tell her what's going on and what recently how she's been mocking her in her dreams and turning to different people, and then calling and asking for her to do things.
So she's been more or less getting blackmailed into compliance. We will
Sort of?
need to deal with that.
Yeah. I was thinking we could maybe form a little ritual.
Absolutely.
I also have a feeling that whatever was keeping me awake at night a few weeks ago is also keeping her awake at night a few weeks ago. I mean, it's also keeping her awake at night now.
Right. Let's see what we can do for her. See if we can ward off some of these bad dreams. And we'll make a note to kidney shot dear cousin when we see her for this.
I'm about to do more than body slammer against a fucking wall, I swear to God.
So itching for that.
Yeah. Her violence is still there. It's just more controlled violence now. It's not erratic. It's like a controlled burn now. So what I was thinking was doing a blessing of the mother, which reveals the best path for the subject so that they find personal happiness and success, and that will use the best of their potential to kind of try to figure out how to get Leia out of this little web that Madeline has her in.
Yeah, roll me that spell. I think you can set up the ritual at some point in between the preparations, in between everything. It's a mother spell. Blessing plus mercy. Yeah.
Okay. Do we both roll again? I feel like it's been like such a long time since I played this game, and it really has.
Yeah.
It's been so long since we rolled dice for sure.
Yeah, we had some strong non-dice rolling episodes. Let's see if we have. Let's see when you want to guide others, protect. I'll say, Marcus, if you want to roll me a navigate others plus wisdom, and we'll treat that as wheel or woe depending on what you roll.
Alrighty,
if you
plus
fail,
wisdom.
it's a navigate others roll.
Alright, so I got a 2 and a 3, and my wisdom is plus 0. So it's a big old 3.
Oof. All right. Do you want to do it narratively, as in why you're not super on board with it, or why it's not working out? If not, we'll just treat it as the demon
I think he is super on board with it, and he's giving it a real try because this is something serious, and I think it just doesn't work. I don't think it's not so much that he isn't into it or anything, because he is. It's just a failure. Some bad magic on his part. He could just be tired from work.
You find yourself kind of crashing against a wall with a voice going, "You think you can do that again? You underestimate me. This one is ripe." Nanishka, do you still want to try it? Or do you want to subdue that conflict until a later time?
Nah, she's trying it. Does she also hear the voice, or is it just Marcus?
Marcus will tell you. Yeah, you can both hear the voice, I guess.
Yeah, he's not keeping that to himself, considering the way things are going lately.
Oh, we're banishing this bitch again. We're doing this.
Let's do it. I'm
All
ready when you are.
right. What? This will be a blessing spell is plus mercy, but are you going into this with mercy in your aspect?
I feel like originally she did because she is helping Leia.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, even though I feel like the demon would cause severity, she's still doing this not out of spite for the demon, but to relieve Leia of what she has experienced, of whatever is going on with her. So
All
I
right.
think the voice just kind of fuels her fire to like achieve what she's trying to do, but not like just be spiteful and go into crone or severity.
I think that makes sense. So roll me a straight roll. You're not at woe. Not at wheel either, but not at woe.
I'm using these dice for the rest of the session. Is it plus? Do I get a +1 to wisdom?
Yes.
Wait, am I going?
Well, no,
Okay.
this is in wisdom. This is a mother. Blessing is plus mercy. You're going
blessing.
in mercy, you said. No, it's a straight roll in this case.
Okay. Double fives.
That's still really bloody cool, and I'm not salty about it at all. Tell me how this plays out.
I feel like noticing the kind of wall that Marcus keeps hitting, she's gonna kind of take charge in this and just have him help set up the ritual, and kind of watch over as that extra security. And she's going to lay for them. It's they usually do a circle. It's kind of a sort of protection from the outside. And Leia's gonna be there with her, but she's not sitting in front of Leia. She's sitting behind, and her hands are beside her head, like touching her temple. And she's casting this magic that kind of swirls around them both, almost like a snake. And she already knows this pit of despair that this demon is, knows the stain basically, so they know what to look for. So they're trying to look for that, and before this seed can keep blooming, kind of rip it out of the ground, that is Leia, and try and figure out if this is the only thing that's compelling her to work with Madeline, or what else is in there, if there's any type of other magic lingering from another witch.
With a 10, you have an ultimate success, and your bite, your absolute dedication to this, plus just the fact that you finally, not for the first time, but you're getting the hang of channeling your anger into something just creative and productive rather than destructive. And you find your way not just into the demon's mind, forcing him out yet again. You find your way into Leia's mind. You're a little bit taken aback at first, but you do feel almost like a web of lies, compels, and sweet half-truths that forced her into trusting Madeline. You can recognize this magic. It is hag magic. It is similar to what Sylvie sometimes does. It's similar to how Reeves gets his way in the bar with every customer. It is fey magic. And you realize, you clock it, of course, Leia is a fey being, at least partly so. Sylvie has, to a degree, control over fey beings. it does make sense that Madeline would be able to compel her to tell her things. That, with some smart lawyer talk, basically, you start to undo the knots and the strings of the spider web.
I think the visual would be, because I already had the visual of the snake wrapping around all magic like, it'll be almost, for the demon, it'll be a snake striking and ripping a seed from the ground. And the same snake, it's this almost iridescent snake. You know the black snakes you can see that have like this rainbow sheen on top? That slithers into Leia's mind, but it's not insidious. It's careful. And at the visual of this spider web, it turns, because fire has been such a motif with Naneshka, this magic snake kind of turns into a snake made out of fire and wraps around the webs, burning them away. And I feel like Marcus can see almost like a flame as she touches Leia's head, but it's not burning them.
The ritual concludes successfully, so not with a demon cast out, but with a demon extinguished. Neither of you can feel its presence. And Leia falls over, unconscious or asleep. It's hard to tell where she exactly falls right now, but what you've learned definitely gives you pause for thought. How much does Madeline know, even with Leia now severed from her influence? You need to talk to Sylvie, to Anati. You need to figure out what this could mean. And you still need to organize the funeral. So I'm bringing you all back together. The funeral is happening soon. Anati and Sylvie, you did have your episode 2 weeks ago with various personal interactions, with various personal developments that unfolded. Let's put it that way. How would you like to approach this scene, or is there anything you two would like to still wrap up from last time before we continue as the Coven?
I don't believe so. I think Anati is wrapped up as she can be right now.
Then you meet up in the Bad Moon Rising bar. Just a couple of hours before the funeral really starts. You exchange information about Leia. You tell each other as much as you want to tell each other. Is there anything you want to hold back from your various individual scenes, or can we all assume we're on the same page?
No. What are we telling? What are we telling Sophie about Leia?
Anishka is going to be open. She's going to tell her what happened, and she's going to tell her that if she sees Madeline again, she's going to stab her in the throat.
Yeah, there's very much your cousin's on not on thin ice. She is completely submerged in the ice water, and the hole is quickly
She has
freezing
fallen,
over.
and the ice has already frozen over.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that begs the question.
Also communicate.
That begs the question. Does Leia now... Is Leia now a risk to the Coven?
She's no longer under
Does she
Madeline's
deserve our
influence.
protection as a traitor?
It was not her fault, Sylvie. Madeline's the same type of witch that you are. She has control over Fey beings to a certain extent, and Leia, however little, is a Fey being. She was compelled to do these things. It's not her
Largely
fault.
beyond her control. And she trusted in us enough to confide that and seek help rather than hide it.
Marcus and I already got rid of her influence over Leia.
What was the influence?
Her magic. I don't know how if she's going to do it again, but I gave Leia a few days off to stay home. It is not Leia's fault. She does not deserve to be punished for that.
I would like to summon some of the Fae that I tend to commune with often here.
All right. What would you like to do?
Yeah, probably some of the ones that I usually have look over my workshop from last time, like the snake. I want to summon I would like to summon my snake friend because I want eyes on Leia's dwellings.
Is that a particular spell you're using, or is it just a
I
general?
can actually do find and request the presence of a spirit or fairy so that you can converse with them. And a fairy, or that's the divination, and the other one is a fairy or spirit will be a subject's benefactor, protecting them from harm, inspiring them, bringing them. I think I definitely want to do the divination one. It's a maiden spell. Mm-hmm.
That's mostly just a chat. That's if you want to, get information.
See special fairies or interactive creatures if they are physically present. Location or spirits of these creatures that we trace. Yeah, I guess I just kind of want to. I'm just reading. Sorry, I'm blind and I have a hard time reading things on screens.
If you want to talk to them and ask them to help, then we can do a regular roll. We can do a.
Okay.
I think enforce your will or rally.
We'll go ahead and go with rally. Let's see. Enforce your will is what? Is severity, and rally is mercy. I'll go ahead and go with rally. I don't get any pluses to mercy, but let's see. Yeah, it's a straight up 5. So I'm assuming
That's a fail.
It's not. Yeah.
That's you summon your snake, and the snake is a little bit, frustrated. Is almost what you're feeling. It's a sensation of nothing ever happens. You always summon me to watch things. I never get to do anything. It's almost like a little temper tantrum of a child, which you are aware of. The Fae are sometimes when they're just bored, they get really hard to work with.
So
the snake...
what you're saying is that next time I bring you into my presence, it should be a little bit more action-oriented?
Next time you bring me into your presence, I will make it so.
Good to know.
and the snake disappears. And you feel a general plunge almost in fairy presence in Seer's Rest. Almost as if many of the creatures you've summoned lately to do errands and to oversee things, to keep an eye out, have gone with it.
Gotcha.
Fail
We'll
usually
deal
has some
with-
unintended consequences, I'm afraid.
No, that's fine. We'll have to deal with that later. There are ideas I wish to bring to everyone here concerning the truce or the lack thereof one that now exists. I would like to talk with the members that are here, the members of the Seven that are here, if they have the original contract. Because I have an idea.
What's the idea?
An idea that'll keep the truce going, if possible.
Okay.
I need to know the specifics of what my grandmother's has to be alive. Is it alive, mind, body, and soul? Or does a rebirth count as part of that truth? And I gotta look over at Marcus because, you know,
Yeah,
This might
he's
pique his
also kind
interest.
of considering that, like, loopholes. I like loopholes. So,
I mean, I think they might have put in try to get rid of loopholes that have to do with maybe putting a soul back in a body, since that's something me and Marcus could technically do. But rebirth is
I'm not
different.
there is a stipulation for the returning the spirit, and the main problem is that, as Naneshka said, the body has to be habitable, but it also has to be free of decay and disease, and it does include
Right.
mental.
I'm not talking about putting the soul in the old body.
No, we're talking about a full rebirth.
Full reincarnation, yes.
Well, I guess that begs the question, does the contract end on death or the stoppage of life? Because if it ends on death, then even if she does get reborn, she's still died.
Exactly.
Which is why I need to see the contract.
Yeah, that's the only way to be sure.
Then let's go to the funeral and then mingle with the witches that are here. See if anybody has a copy of it.
So this is before the funeral? I thought this was after.
The conversation just here is just before the funeral.
Oh, okay.
So you'll be able to talk to the two representatives of the Seven in the wake
Yeah, because
after.
that's what the
You've
seven
had
were
the
in town.
exactly. We've had hints of how the funeral goes last time, so I just wanted to make sure everyone was still up to speed and everyone was actually here for the plan instead of going for the plan when Naneshka and Marcus would maybe go against it as Hecate witches, because, you know, morals, but apparently that's not a problem in this group. So
I
we're...
think Neshka real quick will end the conversation with Sylvie. If your cousin ever shows her fucking face here or anywhere near us again, I'll fucking turn her into a zombie, I swear to God.
I'll help.
Good. Because Naneshka can do that.
GM looks at her notes, goes, okay. Um, the funeral itself has various rites that you have prepared, that other witches have prepared, and various beautiful eulogies. But it's still a funeral. And it doesn't last very long because nobody likes a funeral. That being said, Aoife, being of Irish descent, has always made sure to let her friends and colleagues know that this is definitely something she would want for her own funeral, a proper wake, a proper send-off that includes plenty of spirits and not the ones you are all used to. Not for nothing, you ordered a good amount of whiskey, a good amount of extra booze, knowing what was going to happen. And as the day and afternoon progresses, the extra benches and tables you've put out in front of the Bad Moon Rising are filled with lots and lots of stories. Lots and lots of drinking, songs, and even laughter at some point as people remember Aoife's life and people remember what she was like in her youth and what she was like during motherhood and what she was like as a Grand Witch of Seer's Rest and a Grand Witch who could have easily become one of the seven but chose not to. Isabel Mackenzie, one of the representatives, the hag representative of the seven, has plenty of old war stories. Every now and then a bit of a remark that you would probably know would have Aoife herself object. But even though the two witches had different opinions, they've been through a lot together. Likewise, you find that Pablo, a witch of Hecate, who actually used to stay in Seer's Rest for quite a long time, has many more wistful, more emotional stories to tell about their relationship and their friendship. And they stayed in contact until the very end. They kept writing letters. He even mentions Pino a couple of times in some of the stories, mentions other people, Cass. You start getting a feeling for who these two are, not just as grand names so far away from a small coven like this, but you start to see the connections and you start to see just how well known the Coven of Seer's Rest actually is or was. Would you like to approach them together, or would you like to approach them differently? What are you gonna do?
God, Anati so does not want to talk to these people. If the rest of the coven would like her to be present, she will, but Anati's nerves are already like bad enough. She doesn't want to talk to two of members of the seven. No.
I think we should all be there as a unified front. But not all of us need to talk. And Sylvie seems to be good at talking.
We're there for emotional
What?
support. You're the boss. You got this.
It's not that she's good at talking. Sylvie is just good at not budging.
Yeah.
Sylvie
So
is
Anati-
really valid.
Yeah.
Nati can stay silent if she wants to. Marcus, how hard has Marcus been hitting the whiskey?
Oh, he's probably not sloshed, but he's socially drinking.
Yeah. Okay.
He could
I
talk
think-
if nobody else wants to.
We could pass around the talking baton. But Sylvie can. I think Sylvie can kind of start with what she wants or needs, from the people here, because we do. I think a good thing would be to let them know that even though Aoife's gone and the coven is moving into new hands, it's still in good hands, and we're gonna do whatever we can to protect our coven and
It's
our
been
people.
in our it's been in our
Yeah.
hands for a while.
Yeah.
Since we did the ritual to take her magic from her. But
Yeah.
I will lead you, whoever wants to come with me, to where the seven are staying. And I will have a round of Murphy's for the Deer Seven. For those of you who don't know, Murphy's is a beer from that side of that corner of the world that my granny's from. So that was not an Irish accent. That was mine.
Anati
So, and
will
I will.
just like
Mhm.
shuffle behind Naneshka, like periodically wave and do courteous things.
Naneshka will hold Anati's hand for comfort. If she needs.
I will, yeah, I will go ahead and sit down with these members and hello. Thank you for your attendance. It meant a lot.
I wouldn't have wanted to miss it.
Who's
She
speaking,
deserves
by
a
the way?
celebration. That's Isabel. She
Isabel?
deserves a
Mhm.
celebration.
I agree. Unfortunately, I don't know how long a celebration of her life will continue. Do you happen to have access to the contract that my grandmother had with the Illuminati?
Isabel and Pablo exchange a look. The incident.
Yeah. I'm more interested in the terms than the incident.
We should have a copy of it somewhere. Why?
I will need it to look at its terms.
The animosities were dealt with.
The animosities
Were they
will
not?
come back.
I'm sorry, what was that, Lydia?
The animosities were dealt with. Were they not? Manishka said the animosities will come back. You see Pablo and Isabel exchanging a look that is worried. Slightly exasperated.
There is a possibility that, more than a possibility, we were informed by one of the Illuminati members that was related to Aoife and I that the terms of that animosity, of that truce, are supposed to end upon her death. However, knowing Aoife and how quick and how witty she was, I need to look at those terms to see if there are loopholes that I can exploit. Because I am here to protect the legacy of this town, and I will do whatever it takes.
Not to bring dishonor on your grandmother, but when it comes to loopholes and letter of the law rather than spirit of the law, it is hard to get one over the Illuminati.
I would still like to see it.
She makes a couple of hand motions, and you see an owl appear, seemingly conversing with Isabel, and then dissipating into thin air. Give it a minute. This is not what I expected from tonight. If the truce is in danger, then this might turn into an all-out war.
Exactly, which is why I wish to avoid it.
If it does turn into an all-out war, Are you people we can count on?
Being of the seven means we are tied to the decision of the seven. We are but two. And Pablo chimes in with a war. We can't afford that. This is the same bullshit all over again, and he gets worked up. He has had a couple of pints of Murphy, maybe some whiskey as well. He knocks on the table at some point. We barely made it out last time. We barely kept the town alive last time. This truce was the best thing we could have hoped for after all the sacrifices. After all the people we lost to this stupid idea.
You don't want it to come to that again. But they've been waiting, scheming, and trying to infiltrate this town.
Are you telling them what you know and who the actors are?
Not yet. I think it'll depend on like the mood of my coven and the questions they ask. But she will let them know it's like they've been waiting and scheming and trying to infiltrate the town.
Sylvie will straight up say that Madeline visited AFE in the nursing home in the hospice care.
Mm-hmm.
Tries to play it off as sincere.
Madeline, huh?
Mm-hmm.
As far as we know, she's working. She's been working her way up. Still not forgetting her own powers and her own traditions.
She's a fucking traitor is what she is.
Well. Your thoughts, you're definitely free to think whatever you like. I might agree. Unofficially, of course.
Of course.
There's been several struggles with the Illuminati throughout the land, throughout the nation. They might be looking for a reason to escalate.
The end of a truce is an easy reason.
Do they have a reason to escalate? Do they have anything on you they could use?
Not that I know of, but they've been trying. Like I said, they've been trying to infiltrate the town. Wow. Go ahead.
Like, as you're talking and that question is asked, I'm gonna look over at a Naughty.
I'm not exactly sure why, but the Illuminati does have a vested interest in me.
You.
Yeah.
They usually only have interests in things or people they can exploit, they can use. Do you know what use you could be to them?
Not in particular. The memory's a little hazy, but I think that they had me at one point in one of their facilities up near Rossford, Ohio, and I I can't remember much from that time.
Ohio. That's...
Yeah.
As far as we know, there's an agricultural company they're running. Seeds, that stuff. Indoor growth towers, genetically changed, and as they would put
that
it,
would be why.
improved materials.
Could
I've
it be working
always
on
had a
art seeds?
well, I have always had a particular gift with plants, bloom flowers, tending gardens. I would guess that that's probably what they want me for.
Well, we can't let them have you then.
I mean,
There is...
is it worth a whole war?
You don't sacrifice our own. That's not how we do things.
Not at all.
There is no choice we can force you to make. That is also not how we do things, but no, I would recommend against such a noble deed.
It's possible that they might have broken the truth before it ended.
Possible that they're good at covering their tracks. If we can somehow forge a new truce, that is an option we need to explore, but it will give them the upper hand in negotiations.
What would happen if they had broken the truce before it ended?
We'd have to bring it to our colleagues, but it would be a lot easier to unite the various covens and the various experts of the crafts against them.
Alright. You might want to double check certain people. Those that are Fey inclined. Madeline has been using her own gifts against us and has been influencing one of our own that we've protected in this town. Trying to get information. It's succeeding.
Interesting. That could be considered as overstepping. We will bring it to the Seven. An official discussion, looking into the contract, looking into the terms, and looking into the potential breach of said contract from both sides. Just for clarity's sake, we'll have to be thorough. We're not natural lawyers, Isabel says with a smirk. They are. Even the
Yes,
Fae,
they are.
the devils, the demons of this world can sometimes learn from the Illuminati. It's as if they have combined the worst traits a fairy in hell. And I've turned it into a business. You see contempt oozing with every word.
I wouldn't put it past them. They're filled with people who would betray their own kind for nothing.
Are you going to ask something specific or propose something specific? Because otherwise, I'll have the scene come to an end and they will leave the wake a little bit earlier than they had planned.
I'm just waiting for the contract to appear.
All right. The contract does appear in the end. The contract is legalese to the point where your eyes go cross-eyed as you're trying to read it all. But it is tied to Aoife's. Oh, okay. What are you?
I would like to
wanting to
spin
do
the
with the
charm.
Mhm.
I would like for it to specifically word that it is tied to Aoife's life cycle, and those are the cycles, and that is the wording. Am I ruining it? I'm sorry.
No, I'm just considering
Okay. Yeah.
how to best turn that into. Yeah.
Yeah. There's an almost smirk on Sylvie's face as she because she's a scientist, so jargon is doesn't intimidate her much. Even legal jargon, because you have to prepare patents and shit like that, research papers, that kind of stuff. It's always yeah. She's not. If she is unsettled, it definitely ends when she sees the part of Aoife's terms, because her grandmother was very, very smart. She got it honestly.
All right, you spend that charm, and the wording is specifically tied to Aoife as a person, yes?
Mm-hmm.
And you get a sensation that this was one of the negotiation points, that perhaps it was originally tied to Seer's Rest, and that Aoife used her own wit to have it tied to her, insinuating that it almost playing stupid, playing dumb with it, tying it to her with the Illuminati, thinking, oh yeah, this is how we're gonna get it. But then wording, you say life cycles. What are you, how are you putting the lore of that into play?
I am considering reincarnation, like Aoife considered reincarnation as well.
Alright. Sure. Let's go with that. Are you telling the two of your plans?
Yeah, she'll put the contract down and sort of set it out and look over at Pablo and Isabella. The truce seems to be tied to Aoife's life cycles. I may have access to continue her cycle of life.
That, while smart, could be considered an ethical dilemma by some of our kind.
I consider the wording in this contract's Aoife's consent, if that is what you're worried about.
I wouldn't put it past Aoife to smile upon. this particular plan. Isabel seems a little bit pained, considering that I find it in, no offense, quite bad taste. That is reason enough for me to assume that she would love it. That being said, while I knew Aoife, others did not, and might see this move as a selfish, if not megalomaniac, undertaking.
What is less ethical? War or rebirth?
That is something we will decide and inform you of.
If I may interject, should this leave a bad taste in people's mouth, this would actually give us more time to try and rework a new contract with them. I don't
You want to use
suggest that we rebirth Aoife every time she dies. And I would like to secure a safe truce for people after we all die.
Pablo looks at you with a very thoughtful glint in his eyes. You remember the laws of our craft, young witch. Life for life. Resurrection must be balanced by sacrifice. What are you willing to sacrifice for such resurrection? Not a life taken before its time. Not a spirit forced out of its body, but gone by natural means.
I would give a lot to protect this town. And if a balance must be kept, then it must be kept. But the truth is done. Aoife is dead. Her life cycle currently is over. And right now we're free game to the Illuminati. We could strike at any moment. They've been scheming for years for this. We have not. So, we either find a way to continue this truth in a matter of hours or day, or try to figure out how to bring Aoife back. At a cost.
At a cost. We will debate and inform you of where the Seven stand. Take it as counsel, not law. Do as thou wilt, but be prepared to suffer the consequences.
Alright.
Alright.
I wish you luck. For what it's worth, I wish you luck. And Pablo stands up and leaves the table. Isabel sits there a little bit longer and seems deep in thought. It's a clever move. Aoife would be proud. She nods at Sylvie.
I know.
And then leaves the table as well. And they disappear through a portal that Isabel almost paints into thin air. They wouldn't display it quite so openly if it weren't serious. You all know that.
Mm-hmm.
And now as you're looking at each other, sitting on that table while the wake around you seems to continue without having really noticed what was going on and all the various bits and pieces that have been whirring in your head, all the little gears turning, we are going to take a brief break because my dog is going slightly mental behind me. And we'll be back in 10 minutes so you can discuss further, see what we're actually going to do, and see if someone else might be trying to pay a visit to this particular
I will
wake.
turn her into a zombie.
All right, we'll be back with
That's gonna
zombie
be the
turning
life.
in
That's
10
gonna be the
minutes.
sacrifice.
Let's do it. Let's get her.
Oh god. we are back with Bloodmoon Rising and with a coven that is contemplating crimes against life itself. I'm not judgy, you're judgy.
Contemplating is different than doing.
Don't ask
Yes,
why, ask why not.
that's that's the coven of Maleficar Seer's Rest, but I'm okay with that. We're going dark. So we just had a little conversation with some of the seven. Sylvie offering her ideas, Naneshka being ride or die, Anati and Marcus a little bit slightly more subdued, I would say, in their opinions. You're left on your own at the table, a little bit secluded. Are you wanting to talk this through? Are you wanting to proceed? What are we doing?
I would like to talk this through. I think Naneshka, like after we all finish with the wake and things are settled, kind of will open Bad Moon Rising just to the coven. And she'll, I think out of habit they'll get behind the bar, but just kind of like put their hands on it and just lean on it, and their fingers are tapping. We gotta be prepared for a lot of things, not just war.
Yes.
I don't think they'll. It's possible that war is not their end game. They also lost a lot of people. We need to know what they're planning.
Yes, and all things considered, though, it seems like it's the direction they are leaning, allying with the werewolves and reinforcing that old bond, and now making sure that this pact is broken. It's not much in the direction of the contrary.
Well, true, but then again, lawyers are sneaky. How much I know. So we need to figure out all, if not all, at least what other options they would be willing to do. The obvious is war, yes, wiping out a lot of us and also a few of the ranks in the way.
What
But
did Layla tell you that they knew about us?
um Leia said that Madeline asked about the people in the town and about Anati specifically. And I don't doubt she was trying to look for a reason to escalate things by having her go into your workshop and try to look for a skull. Try to see if you actually duped her.
They're not gonna find anything. There's nothing left.
Yeah, Leia told me she found nothing. So that's good.
I'm gonna have to lock my shop now.
Yes. Is there some sort of way, you think, that we could manipulate Madeline like she manipulated Leia?
I don't know Madeline's full capabilities quite yet. They are similar to mine. We are from for all, we're from the same heritage. I don't know if we can manipulate her. I also know that Reeves visits her. He is, after all, a neutral being that looks after the bloodline, and she is still a part of the bloodline. So, however, Reeves is not one to. He may cause mischief, but mischief between the bloodline I don't think is his goal.
Sure
I'm
hope
not worried about Reeves.
I'm worried what she's going to do with the information she knows. She knows the people here. She knows what we have. We don't know anything about the ranks. Other than that, this sector's leader's a werewolf. And
She
is
doesn't
a
know
witch.
everything.
I mean, hypothetically, she only knows what Leia knows, right? I mean, Leia
Yeah,
was.
so we spoke a lot around Leia.
I suppose.
Out of character, to refresh my mind, Leia was not with us during our heart-to-heart, though, right? Like, she was very specifically casted away, right? During that
I'm fairly certain
episode,
there
if
was
I
Which
no
remember
one in
heart-to-heart?
the
correctly.
bar.
The one before AFE died, like when we were all like playing that game together.
Yeah.
No, you were alone for that. It's hard for you to really, because you'd never really considered her, and she is a fly on the wall just by nature.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to really pinpoint what she knows and what she doesn't.
Right.
And
Well,
hard
We
to tell
could-
what she managed to find out on her own and what she didn't, because he never had reason to suspect her. What were you saying, G? Sorry.
We could try and come at Madeline from the angle of her interference through Leia broke the contract in some form. I guess we don't know if she's seen the contract herself, but we could try that as an angle of like, yes, this
I mean,
technically broke the contract, but scratch my back and I'll scratch yours kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, they would have a copy of it. And that's what I was trying to point to Isabel. She said it might be a breach of contract, that they will look into it. But also into if we ever breach the contract ourselves. I don't know if body checking her into a wall was breaching the contract.
Yeah, it's more of a like interpersonal thing. That would make sense.
I sure hope so.
I mean, technically breaching contract at the same time they were breaching, so it might be a double negative that cancels each other out.
That's true.
The phone rings.
The bar phone?
Yes.
Naneshka will pick it up. She won't say anything, just pick it up.
So you noticed, huh? It is Madeline's voice.
Hard not to notice your stink.
We should talk.
What do you need more information out of us?
I needed the information because I was sure I wasn't gonna get it from you guys. And even though I'm sure you are not going to believe me when I say the following, I'll say it anyway. I needed the information to draw up a new truce, beneficial to both parties, as far as I can make it so. I do not wish to see my family annihilated.
So I guess there is a line for you as a traitor, huh?
I appreciate your attempt to get me angry.
Oh, I'm not trying to get you angry. I'm just trying to put the truth in your face.
Will you have me for negotiations? Or will you resort to violence, as is your wont?
Well, you see, Madeline, some of us actually grow up and change our ways.
Oh, I've grown up and changed my ways. Don't lecture me on
Please
that, little
hold.
girl.
She'll put her on hold as she's speaking. I can be fucking petty. Don't try me.
I
I'm
mean,
glad
go for
Nineshka's
it.
really. I'm glad Nineshka's really keeping the tension low in this phone call. She's just making sure that everything is going along peaceful, with no trouble
There's
whatsoever.
just that moment where she's like, "Did this bitch put me on hold?"
It's just rock and music starts blasting.
Imagine. Oh no! Imagine Madeline on the other side. As the girl of
It's like-
Ipanema is
Yeah.
playing.
As she puts Madeline on hold, she'll turn to the group and explain. It's Madeline. She's trying to justify her actions, saying that she's trying to drop a new contract that is beneficial, well, as beneficial as she can do it for both parties. She wants to meet with us.
Meet with us
Meet
with
with
whom
me.
else present?
Haven't asked that yet.
If she intends to, that's not how a naughty talks. If she means to meet with all of us and it's just her, I don't see why we wouldn't be able to do that. I mean, 1 versus 4.
Don't
I wouldn't
underestimate.
underestimate her. Mm-mm. I not only do I not underestimate her, I do not trust her. And
Oh no. I don't trust her
I
as far as I can
know-
throw her. I can throw her pretty fucking far.
you are quite strong. Unfortunately, I do not think that we can necessarily wait for the go-ahead from the Seven with the possible reincarnation plan or negotiation meeting. And I think that distracting Madeline is a good idea, making her believe that we are open to a new contract, even because she probably saw the wording herself and she probably understands. However, we do have a secret in this desert.
We do. Well, depends where we meet her and if she's coming alone. I'll go check on that. I'm sure she's enjoying the whole music.
Mm-hmm.
She'll pick up the phone. Is it just you or is it anybody else?
Just me and a lot of paperwork.
Joy. We'll meet at the Batman Rising. Just you. And you're only welcome until we say you are.
Understood.
Then hurry up and bring your paperwork over.
Tomorrow.
Any other concerns, questions, comments, ratings?
I'll leave a feedback form. Wonderful customer service. 5 stars would do again. And she hangs up the phone.
Naneshka hangs up.
All right.
Fucking hate that bitch.
I will say tomorrow, because it's probably late at night, she said the bar was being cleaned and it was basically locked down, just you guys. She will have specified that she'll basically be here in the morning before customers are coming, so it's not tomorrow. You don't have ages to prepare shit.
It's
Unless you
like
want
in
to
a
do
few
a quick
hours.
warding spell. It's basically in a few hours,
Yeah.
yeah. And I will remind you that it is, at this point, the day before the blood moon.
Okay. I will suggest that we do a quick warding spell as a coven.
Yeah. The other, like, after we do the warding spell, Sylvie has an idea on how to approach this whole thing, but let's go ahead and get our warding spell up. Coven spells. So we haven't done one yet.
No.
I think we did one at the
We
beginning.
did one to protect Jake, but that was it.
Yep.
Yeah, you did a group
yeah.
spell.
Super
Group
early on.
magic.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of spell would you like to cast upon the area?
Ooh.
And you will only have time to really protect the Batman Rising bar. The longer something takes, the longer a ritual takes, the more powerful it is. If you want to use these hours, you can do so, but it will only affect the bar. Where are my Coven magic things?
Now I have Girlfriend Ipanema stuck in my head.
Same.
Another community or city, the witch's curse will succumb to disaster the next week. I'm looking. I think these are the spells. If I'm not okay,
Yeah.
Covens of Divine Magic, Coven of the Veil, Coven of the Town. The Mercy one is the participating witches' home community will have an immense wealth of prosperity in the next year. Or I think the Wisdom is what we're looking for, in that the participating witches' home community will recover from a disaster within the next lunar month. So if a disaster happens here, we have, like, our magic will help it recover. So whether it's from Madeline herself or for the Bad Moon Rising or whatever.
It
The
will only
Blood
cover Bad
Moon.
Moon Rising.
Yeah. Right now it will only cover the
but-
Batman Rising, and it will still require you all to roll, but I will say if you want to, after Madeline, deepen the spell, you can set the groundwork to build upon the magic you start weaving.
Yeah. I think that's what we'll do then.
Mhm.
Now, the
do a
rules for
quick
Coven
little-
magic
Yeah. Go ahead.
is that essentially every one of you rolls, and it's majority rules. So if you all have majority success, you all get +1 XP. If you all have medium, it's a medium outcome, and if most of you fail, then I'm gonna have fun.
Remember, guys, we have a charm. Well, Sylvie doesn't, but the rest of us do.
Yeah, I don't have a charm.
No.
But that's okay.
You do have a charm for that reroll.
Mhm.
Or actually,
Okay,
yeah, +10.
So, and it's going to be plus our wisdom, which is great because that is also my core strength. Let me see. I think I have a +2
Nanishka
wisdom.
has 0.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I also have.
Is there
0
anything
wisdom.
narratively you want to... Sorry,
Ooh.
Rin.
Oh, I was
he
just
was
saying
just
I also have
confirming.
+0. Yeah.
The
That's gonna
Hecate
be
witches
fun.
Yeah,
aren't
that-
wise.
Yeah.
They're
yeah.
average. They have average wisdom.
Is there anything narratively you want to contribute or you want to do for the scene in the Bad Moon Rising?
And for the record, we're not the only 4 witches in the coven. Like, we have other members, like Millery and Kai are in our coven as well, right? Like, from what I
Are they? I
understood,
thought they were
like,
human.
we have, they are human, but you could, but they were with me on our scouting trip because their grandmother was definitely a witch too, and that's how, like, our families became friends. But
I
if
guess it
that's
depends on
not
how
okay,
you would
that's not
define
okay.
a coven,
Yeah.
but I'm going to
Yeah.
go with just the 4 of you because there's only so many
Okay.
NPCs I want to
Mhm.
include in a discussion,
Yeah.
and we're already
Sure.
quite NPC heavy.
Narratively, we could probably, I imagine that there are runes that we could paint in a way, maybe not with paint, but
With
Well,
blood.
I was about to say something.
Blood.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say blood. I was about to say something much more gross. But you know what? Satan is used to this. I was like, we can put our fluids on the wall.
Yeah, I'm used to
Mm.
human fluids. Jesus Christ.
Like,
Anati,
I
you,
took a
you
turn.
got any saved up fluids that we could use, Anati? You're
That
the
took a
premier
turn.
expert.
Considering I rolled snake eyes, I'm gonna go ahead and
Oh,
use my
no.
charm to roll again. I'm gonna go ahead and
Good call.
not take those 2 ones.
Mm.
Motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
So what are we looking at, friends?
I'm looking very good. I rolled a 6 and a 4, so that's a 10 plus 2 is a 12.
I also rolled doubles, but not snake eyes. I have 2 5s for a 10.
I rolled a 9.
7 to 9 is medium, yeah. And G?
I rolled a 2 and a 3 -1, so 4.
It's an improvement, at least.
I'm
Majority rule.
happy to
We had
say-
2. We had 2. Yeah.
I'm happy to say that the majority rules decide you are still winning. And you're in the lower half of the full success. So the spell will go off without a hitch. The only slight caveat, which is not going to be too dramatic, is that to any witch worth her metal, it's quite obvious that the place was warded. Not
I
a bad
feel like
thing
she would've
necessarily.
expected that. Yeah.
Yeah. So when Madeline comes in the next morning, bright and early, well put together, with yes.
Okay. I was gonna say that Sylvie had some stuff to do that evening. So,
It's
but
like
it's
you
okay.
for
closed
someone.
after the wake. You have maybe an hour before she's coming over. You closed after the wake and you had a
okay, so-
lockdown. So
that's how
basically
it
you were
worked-
getting
that's how
wasted
long
till
we
like
had?
5 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah. And okay, this could still be something. Sylvie was not planning on being present.
Alright.
Are you gonna tell the
Sylvie-
class why?
No, Sylvie was planning on going out to the desert and have a conversation with the Phoenix. like Sylvie's in a hurry. That was part of the conversation that she kind of wanted to have, was that having half the Coven distract Madeline with a new contract while the other half goes and instead of asking for permission, we'll ask for forgiveness from the Seven to talk to their contact in the desert to see what they can do. But if that's something that the GM wants to wait on, then I'm not opposed to that either. Like I'm
very happy for you to ignore the 7.
Nanishka will suggest that it might be better that we're all there, because then Madeline will definitely be like, "Okay, something's extra up." I mean, she already knows something's up, but
okay, yeah.
That is,
I'm a paranoid player.
Entirely up to you for like this is not something that has
it's
anything
going
to do
be-
with the 7.
Yeah.
Madeline
it'll
didn't
be something that
request Sylvie to be there.
Yeah, Sylvie is going to bring it up to, because Sylvie's used to making decisions by herself, but that's not where she's at right now. Like, this is definitely a Coven decision because it affects all of us, and Sylvie is going to be like, do we go and put my plan into motion while we distract Madeline? Or do we do it after she leaves? Like, this is a question she will ask all of you.
It might be better after she leaves.
I think we
don't
should.
know. Go ahead.
I should at least read what she brings us and go from there.
I don't trust these people, and that's an understatement. I'm gonna call Cass and Pano, see if they can keep an eye out around the perimeter of the town. Because if there's not enough time for her to like go through the town, she's just gonna call them on the phone. So she's gonna like boop, 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 and just dial.
You should inform
Cass
them if, yeah. Nas, inform Pino and Cass if anything goes wrong, they should bring people to the bar, as it is protected from disaster. Through the back, of course. The parking lot was included.
Yeah. Okay.
It's part of the property.
Okay, she'll call Cass up first and explain the situation overall, like, kind of like we're gonna be dealing with Madeline and Illuminati. If anything bad happens, like, keep an eye out on the perimeter of the town with Pano, and if anything bad happens, bring people to the bar.
I will set out to patrol right now. Well, yeah, fine, I'll get the umbrella. It is early morning and the sun is just rising.
I
You
owe
owe
you.
me. Mm-hmm. Pano is his usual grumpy self.
Yeah.
Alright, is it
Just get off
Naneshka
your
calling
lap
him or
and do it.
Well, if you ask me that nicely.
Sylvie would really love it if you did so.
I'll do it with a ribbon on top.
Amazing.
Don't tell her I said that.
Oh, I already did.
He's just gonna
I-
stare at you as you're over the phone, like confused because she didn't say that. Like, why are you saying that, Nashika?
It's like, oh
When
no,
she
you're on
I-
speakerphone.
I
You're on
also
speakerphone.
like
Go ahead.
if there's any amount of hesitation that Anati senses through the conversation, the part she can hear, she just yells, "Right now, get your ass down here! You're not even doing anything. You're just gonna be fucking sleeping. Get off your ass."
There's just a... Are you wanting them inside the bar or just patrolling?
Just to
basically?
patrol the perimeters of the town. Not go too far
Right.
off, just basically the edges of it.
Alright. Then we'll move on to a beautiful day with Madeline appearing. And all four of you are there, is that correct? Or did
Yes,
Sylvie...
but I have showered and changed.
Fair.
I feel like there's a shower
Madeline-
at the bar.
That bar
house
has
is
so much
walking
stuff in the
distance.
basement.
It's just the hose, really.
Oh, a basement in the hold on, a basement in the desert? That's
don't-
rough.
I
Like,
don't
there's a lot of limestone to go through.
I
Sorry,
don't know,
sorry,
man.
sorry.
We don't have
Listen,
deserts.
I know. Listen, my thing, like, that's a lot of rock. Like, anyway.
We
go
made it
ahead.
happen. We're witches. We have a basement. It's fine.
That is true. We made it happen. It's magic. We don't have to explain shit.
And you've had
Exactly.
to argue with Anati to not turn it into a sex dungeon.
Well, we gave her her own room, so whatever happens in that room is her business.
Yeah, soundproof.
We made sure it
Anyway.
was soundproof.
We
Where
are
did you
turning
take
with
Layla?
Madeline. I'm trying to turn this into drama, but it's failing. Who appears in her best Ally McBeal outfit? It's a little bit too early for that, but you know what I mean. And it's this really icy kind of politeness from her side. She nods at all of you individually. Sylvie, Naneshka, Marcus. And Natty, nice to meet you. And
I
walks
really just
into
don't
the
say
bar.
I'm not going to, but that's what my instinct told me to do. Sorry.
All good. She immediately takes over one of the tables and starts putting a lot of individual files and paperwork out. Sits down as if she owns the place, looks around, looks at the runes, smiles, and says, "Please, let's talk."
Well,
You want to drink?
Neshka will sit down.
So will Anati.
Natasha, why don't you instead go pour her a breakfast stout? Because
She'll
Sylvie
look
knows Sylvie knows Nanoshka's abilities.
No, I know, but
Which-
she gets it, but she'll look at you, will look at Madeline, won't even ask her, and get up and then just get a breakfast out for her.
No, thank you. I'd like to keep a clear mind.
You missed the wake and the funeral. It's for Aoife.
It's not poison or anything, unfortunately.
It's just Murphy's.
It's just Murphy.
No, alcohol is a poison. We are here to discuss the future of Seer's Rest. I don't see why we should talk around this particular issue.
Right. Did you draw up a contract that I can have my lawyers look over?
Yes, I did.
Cool.
And she hands you a contract. In so many words, it will be something I'm sure your immediate reaction would be to disagree on.
Mm-hmm.
You see, at this point, with Truce gone,
Mm-hmm.
my boss is pondering his next moves. Financially, he could buy this town in a heartbeat. But he is of a more feral nature, and he prefers a more direct
Violent
victory.
approach.
Well, if you give him a reason, yes. Throughout the last years, we have collected information. And I'm afraid to say that the people you harbor here are criminals. I tried to tell you before, Sylvie. You were unwilling to listen, but
Criminals, by your definition, we tend to have a different.
criminals by the law's definition, Sylvie. Do you even know how many
Whose law?
families are out there still grieving? Still not knowing what happened to their loved ones found dead in a ditch, clawed beyond recognition, or stolen
Right.
away by a fairy or a spirit, or...
Since when do human laws concern those of the immortal?
That's a slippery slope
Maddie,
you're on.
what are you doing?
T, what are you doing?
I don't even have Snapcam open. I'm moving my
Really?
preview screen.
Sorry,
I'm
back to
sorry.
the seriousness.
I know you have done good work. I know you have rehabilitated many. I've seen Aoife's work while I was still here, when I was growing up, and when I agreed with her approach. I don't think that approach is still valid in this day and age. I honestly think she lost the plot at some point.
You have so little faith
And I think
in
if-
her.
I'm impressed you have faith in her.
Why would I not?
Her approach got your mother killed. And my
Okay.
parents. Both of them. Her protecting of these not so innocent souls was more important than her own blood. And her own family, her own children.
I would like to make a roll on that.
What would you like to roll for?
I definitely want to do an awareness roll just because for Sylvie, this is the first that she's kind of heard that her grandmother is responsible for her mother's death like that doesn't sit right with her
Yeah.
kind of thing. So I get a +2 to my whiz, which is an 11.
You are taken
Six.
aback by the seriousness and the firm belief in Madeline's voice. You knew that the incident has many versions, that this escalation between the Illuminati and the Coven the first time around, depending on who you ask, has many different people to blame. You know that, yes, your mother, and Madeline's parents were victims of that escalation, although you never got a really straight answer out of Aoife as to what happened, and certainly not of your father. But this is the first time anyone's accused Aoife directly.
I'm gonna breathe in deeply through my nose and just fold my hands into my lap. I believe that you believe that. I do not believe it.
And that is your prerogative. And if you believe that, if you believe me and that, then believe me when I say that I try to do what's best for all of us. You can continue your work. In fact, with this new contract, we can bring back cooperation. We can bring back the original spirit of the truce. But with clear lines, with clear responsibilities, financial support from our side.
We don't need your money.
You will. The world is changing. But there is
What do you propose?
a give and take.
Obviously.
You open up Seer's Rest to us. You protect your people. You can take in new lost spirits. But we want to know who they are and what they have done. And if we deem them too dangerous, too impossible to be rehabilitated, then
And who
they
is
will
the
not
we?
be. I would be the representative of the Illuminati interest.
So we as in the
feel
Illuminati. Go ahead, Anadi.
I feel like there's gotta be more push and pull than just y'all decide that someone's too dangerous so you get to scoop them up. That's I mean, honestly, Madeline, that's a little ridiculous, don't you think? We should at least have a conversation, a probational period, some type of if you're actually here to propose a contract, and trust me when I say I'm fairly certain I'm the only one of the four of us who think that you might be here to try and garner some type of goodwill. There has to be a system in place. It can't just be you decide that they're bad so you get to take them with you.
There will be a system in place, yes. A system of appeals, a council, and stated it's made up of both members. The details are all in there.
We will have our lawyers look over this contract and make any amendments that we wish and stay in contact with you. We're not lawyers, after all. We're not going to read and sign anything without legal representation.
Can I have a mother divination spell that says that I can reveal what the subject cares about and loves the most, thus identifying how they are vulnerable. Could I use that spell on the contract to try and determine whether or not one side is valuing this contract, and if there are any loopholes that, like, intentional wording, like vulnerabilities through the contract?
It's stretching it a little bit.
I totally understand that
It's
is
stretching
a loose
it pretty fucking
interpretation
hard,
of
to be
that.
perfectly honest, because
I mean,
is
it's
it
a
kind of
subject.
the whole point that witchcraft isn't lawyerism, and to, you can't just magic yourself into I know kung fu.
I understand that, but Ajay Magic in particular deals with organizations and infrastructures.
Fair.
Maybe they have lawyered magic a little bit.
Roll for it.
Okay. All right.
After I see the result of this, I have to pee.
I'll roll as slowly as possible. Okay. That is plus wisdom is an 8.
Okay.
Medium success. I'll flavor it that way. Everything within you, every energy you thrive on, the creation that flows through your veins, the willingness and commitment to life itself, is screaming and ringing every alarm bell that you have. In particular, your attention is being drawn to a page, to a word. The page itself doesn't seem to make much sense. You have to read it 5 times to even get a general sense of it, but there is this one word that you are being made aware of by your own inert magic. It says retroactively. All of the stipulations of handing over criminals. There's that one word, retroactively.
I'll sort of... Because Anati would have came to the table with at least a pen and some scrap paper. And Anati's honestly just taking notes as she's flipping through the contract, just like circling words that she's seeing and trying to draw up a whole paper of like, okay, so what about this? Okay, so what about this? Okay, so what about this? And just anything that catches that. And she will sort of exhale a little bit and very dramatically circle the word retroactively 4 or 5 times and write it in large letters at the bottom of the paper and just look at Madeline. Retroactively, huh?
Naturally.
Madeline, you know we're not going to agree to this contract.
Call me an optimist.
You know our town has not done anything to breach the truth. That our people here have not done anyone any harm since they came here.
Since they came here.
Yes, they, like you said, rehabilitated.
I would also say that considering your side is in fact the ones who breached the contract by means of your magic manipulating our barkeep, that the onus of trust should be on you all. And therefore, when people come here, they should be given the benefit of the doubt until they prove that they cannot meet the rehabilitation standards.
Worth exploring.
You and your company are just
Conversation.
gonna look at everything in a biased light.
I can tell you one thing. She moves one of the folios over to mainly Anati. On the folio is the name. Prudence Wilson.
Flip it open.
And it is a detailed report of a factory, company building in Ohio that, through some strange reason, got destroyed. There's newspaper articles, and then more reports zoning in on various reasons, looking for one individual named Prudence Wilson that was once employed in that particular place and is now nowhere to be found. Followed by more reports, traces of that individual in New Mexico, in Sears Rest, and more reports on her abilities, her new identity, and her new coven. Retroactively, Madeline says. They'll want you. They'll negotiate everything else. But for some reason, they want you.
Madeline, I'm sorry for your loss. I don't know if anyone's told you that yet. But I unfortunately am a rehabilitator as much as I'm one of the rehabilitated. So we're gonna have to renegotiate this contract.
You're muted.
I have done what I can to keep him away. To use what you sneer upon: legalese, money, all those weapons of the Illuminati that you find disgusting. Try to use all of that to keep the peace. You're on your own.
Madeline, do you really care so much about this working out?
I care about a clear conscience.
I'm asking you a question and I expect a straight answer. It is a yes or no. You said you cared about your family. Do you really?
You know, it really shouldn't take this long for a normal, sensible person to give that answer. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. It, it would just be a yes if you really cared about your family or the well-being of them, or just be genuine about what you intended here. And the fact that you were manipulating somebody to bend the truce in your favor tells us that you didn't come here with good intentions, as you try to claim on your pedestal. So don't lecture us about what we are failing to do, because you came here with a dagger in your back.
And don't lecture us about people who kill others when your own system is made out of murderers and thieves.
It was very nice talking to you. Let's have coffee sometime. And she starts
Before
packing
Matt
up.
leaves, I want to give her a small brown envelope that's filled with like 30 or so tiny little things that you can't really see through the envelope properly. And I want to put them on top of whatever files she's putting away. And I will